Welcome to Healing from A to Z with Masterful You and KB. I am, of course, Chris Burke. And today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, which might be surprising to you, and that's anxiety. Anxiety is actually kind of near and dear to my heart because it was anxiety and the panic attacks that sent me running to hospital emergency rooms 5 times over a number of years that actually, I'm going to say, forced me to stop just pushing through everything that was happening in my life and actually pay attention to what was going on inside. I had an experience of going to a doctor and saying, hey, I've got these panic attacks happening and, there must be something wrong. And she said, it's in your head. And once it starts, there's nothing you can do about it. And she prescribed a pill for me. And I said, well, I don't want to spend the rest of my life having to use this pill to be okay. I was okay for the first, 40 some odd years of my life. I am pretty sure I can do that again. I just need help. And she said, if you don't take the pills as I prescribe them, I'm not going to prescribe it at all. And at that point, I actually felt like I really needed them because when the attacks would come on, I would feel so powerless. So I got a prescription for 30 days and I didn't take them as I was supposed to. I took them only when I absolutely needed to so that I could stretch them out as long as possible, and I committed to, before these are gone, I'm going to be okay in my body again. So I started researching anxiety and learning everything that I could, and what I discovered was it was my body's fight or flight signal. This is in the very, very early days, right, before I knew anything about fight or flight or the different levels of consciousness that we experience. And so I was like, oh, my fight or flight mechanism is triggered, right? I'm scared all the time. I'm unable to find peace inside my own skin, and that's a terrible experience. This was actually after 9/11 sometime. It wasn't that long after, and the first time I had a panic attack, I was on a plane. So, we never know what's in our subconscious, but the things that are really traumatic, those things that the images that we can't get out of our heads, the experiences that really just stopped us in our tracks, if we haven't processed that emotion and gotten it out, it's still in there and it's impacting us. So what had happened to me is that I had so many of these things build up over time that I had become afraid of just day-to-day living. I didn't realize that I was, because mentally I kept pushing through and saying nothing's wrong, everything's the same. But inside my body, inside my unconscious, it was a completely different scenario. So anxiety just lets us know you've got energy in here and you've got some fears in here that you need to process, because if we don't process it when it shows up as anxiety, which is a messenger, right? It's saying physiologically, like inside your body, things are not flowing super well because you're carrying a lot of fear, which means you're in fight or flight, which means you're not able to use your intellect, your intuition, and your inspiration as designed, right? As you were able to as a baby or as a child, when we did all of that huge learning and growing and developing really quickly, and we had the courage to do all of that. We lose that over time when the fear builds up and we spend more and more time driven by our instincts and because of our fight or flight mechanism. So once I found that out, I said, well, how do I turn this mechanism off? It's running amok, and I want to address the fear. I don't know how, but I'm willing to do that. But I need not to have this thing hijacking, these anxiety symptoms hijacking me all the time, because I'm now becoming more and more paralyzed. I get in the shower, I have an attack. I get in the car, I have an attack. I was carrying a paper bag in the car with me so that I could breathe into it and try to slow my breathing. It had gotten pretty intense. I remember one day being out on a horseback ride with my dad, and that was, like a really special treat. We don't live in the same town, so it was a big deal that we were doing this. And I remember spending most of the time actually trying to manage myself mentally because I was having a panic attack that was completely destroying the ride. And I didn't want to tell my dad. I didn't want to tell anybody about it because I was so ashamed of it. I felt like something was wrong with me. And so that's why my message is so strongly, you are not broken. There is nothing wrong with you. You're just having a natural reaction to what's going on inside your body. And when you're informed, you can break free from this and you can live anxiety free as you were intended. Right? So, I mean, we weren't all born with a whole bunch of anxiety like already happening. It developed over time. So we can kind of undevelop it, if you will. So what I discovered was, I was on this quest to like, how do we turn off this fight or flight? And I came across this article, which I've never been able to find again. So it's sort of maddening. But I came across an article where some researchers were studying chimpanzees. And they said, wow, we noticed that the chimpanzees, if a leopard or something shows up and eats one of them, the chimps, they all run up to the tops of the trees to get away from the danger, the predator. And after their brethren is, devoured, they all start laughing hysterically. And then they transition into this mode of grooming one another. And this, calm descends upon the group again. And at first they thought, oh my gosh, are these chimps kind of mean? Mean-spirited, like they're laughing, ha, you got eaten and I didn't. And over time, scientists started questioning, like, I wonder if what they're doing is actually switching off their fight or flight instinct, right? So that they can, is the laughter the bridge from panic back to I'm okay in my skin? And I mean, I was just like, whoa, what was that? And of course, immediately I thought of the Reader's Digest, Laughter is the Best Medicine. That was kind of popular when I was growing up. So I said, let's try it. The next time I have a panic attack, I'm going to laugh and see what happens. It wasn't long before one came along, and I realized immediately how hard it is to laugh when you're in the midst of a panic attack and you feel like you're dying. I mean, that's what a panic attack feels like. And so I said, okay, but I was determined, I'm going to do this. So what is laughter like physiologically when you don't actually feel anything funny? And I thought, well, I can move my stomach, I can smile, right? And I can make ha 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 noises. And then I can move my stomach as if I were in a full out belly laugh. So I started doing that. And amazingly, within like 12 seconds, all of a sudden, my body automatically went, and there was this deep inhale. And then on that exhale, there was relaxation. It was a bridge. And my stepfather actually was a retired surgeon, and I talked to him about this. And he said, my God, sure, because he talked about the calcium in your bloodstream and how it was affecting your diaphragm and relaxing your diaphragm when you increase the calcium level again. And that's why that was happening. So I was like, great, there's an explanation. I don't need the explanation beyond it works, because I'm all about my experience now. I want to know what's going on in here, and I want to know how I can affect my experience in the moment, right? I don't need to know exactly what's happening. I just need to know what I can do in the moment to change it. So that's what I'm offering to you. I've actually written 2 books on anxiety. You can find them on masterfulyou.com. And one of them is Loving Your Anxiety and Other Worries Away. That's my journey. That talks about how I came to understand and how I came to establish peace in my body by understanding that I'm not responsible for everybody else. I'm not responsible for what's going on in the world. It's not my concern. What's my concern is what's going on inside of my experience, and how my experience and how I'm expressing and interacting with myself impacts the people around me. Am I bringing more positivity and more peace to the world? Or am I, kind of furthering the fear and the complaining and all of the negativity that, we all grew up in. So this is what this whole program is about. Next time you have a sense of anxiety, you don't have to be in full on panic to use laughter to reset yourself. It's really a powerful thing, because over time, as I started using this laughter, in the beginning, it was like, okay, I'm going to use this tool, right? And it was this forced laughter, and sure enough, it would work. But before long, the panic attacks stopped coming. I think of it as I had received the message from my body, and I was paying attention to it, and I was on a mission to find out, how do I create peace in my skin? Now that I know I've been in freaking fight or flight most of my life, and that was true, and I can see it in other people, right? Once you realize, oh, that's what fight or flight looks like. People pleasing, trying so hard, criticizing yourself, nothing's ever enough. Once you realize that's what fight or flight looks like, you see it all around you. And it's not like there's anything wrong with us because we're in fight or flight. It's just that it's not a great place to live, and we're not able to create a life we love when we're just trying to keep our head above water. That's what it feels like, right? We need to be in a place of peace. Peace is not boring. Peace is you having full access to all of your brilliance and being able to decide what your life is going to be like, and then to create that experience for yourself. That foundation is peace. Until we have peace, we're just running our unconscious patterns. There's nothing else we can do. And if you're experiencing anxiety, or someone you know is experiencing anxiety, it's a message that you're ready to get in the driver's seat of your own life. Some part of you is saying to you, hey, this condition, not good for you. It's not a fun experience, and it's making you run around in circles instead of in the direction of the experience that you actually want. So let's get started on the exercise. First of all, write down three things that you are anxious about. 3 things, situations that cause anxiety for you. I know I've talked to a lot of teachers and students I've worked with over years. It's about going to school, right? They've seen the news. They have a lot of anxiety about that. Write that down. Write down those situations that make you feel particularly on guard, particularly vigilant, like, danger. All right? And then write down 3 situations that cause you to feel particularly at peace. This will kind of help you to see, when I'm there, this is an anxiety experience, and when I'm in these other places, this is my least anxious. I'll just give you a sense of that. Draw a circle around the 3 incidences of anxiety. This is your starting place. Hey, at any point in this video, obviously pause it, right? You can also go to masterfulyou.com and download the workbook that will walk you step by step through these exercises that I share in these daily videos. So once you have that down, you've now established, this is anxiety for me. This is what it means to me right now at this moment. This is my anxiety experience. It's not who I am. Anxiety doesn't define you. It's just part of your experience right now because you haven't learned how to resolve it yet. And that's what we're going to do together, right? So now, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I can't get out of bed because my life stinks from anxiety, and 10 is, wow, anxiety does not even exist in my world anymore. Where are you right now? Put that number down. This is an intuitive exercise. Whatever pops into your head is correct. We don't need to question it. Okay, then we're going to write down when I'm at this number. So let's say I always use a 3. I think that may be where I started. When I'm at a 3, in terms of my anxiety, I think what? What are the thoughts that you're thinking about your anxiety, or in these situations where you're feeling anxious? Just let it go. Let it flow. I feel. Write down what you're feeling, what the emotions are. Then write down what you say or do. When you talk about your anxiety or don't talk about your anxiety, how do you try to avoid it or escape it or minimize it? What are the things that you're doing in reaction to it? Write those things down. What do you sense in your body? So just mentally scan your body and pay attention to, what do you feel? When you focus on anxiety, where do you feel that in your body? Is your stomach tight? Does your heart start to race, right? And remember, you have a tool now. We don't have to be afraid of anxiety. We start to feel the anxiety, we can laugh. Give yourself permission to laugh it away. And you know what? In busy airports, I found that you can actually laugh it away quite quietly if you intend to. And what's more important, what other people who don't know you think of the face you're making and the gestures, that obviously you look like you're laughing at, some inside joke, the ultimate inside joke, or how you feel in your experience. Please give yourself that gift of love. Okay. And finally, what do you know? So we've gone through, I think, I feel, I say and do, which is your action. I sense in my body, and I know. What do you know about your anxiety experience? Okay. And then we're going to decide the really fun part, which is where are we going, right? So if you're currently at a 1, 2, 3, wherever you are, it's your experience, and it's you just taking stock of your experience, looking at the reality of it so that you can make a change. We always have to start where we are. If we can't look at where we are, how are we going to get somewhere else, right? Think of it like driving a car. So then decide where you're going. I always recommend choosing, 6, 7, 8. Don't go for the 10. As you start feeling more and more peaceful in your body and you start really expanding your idea of what's possible, like it just happens automatically when we start getting out of fight or flight dominated experience. As you're going through that process, what a 10 is will just continue. The bliss of 10 will just continue to expand. You never get to a point where you're like, well, I did everything, now what? All right, it's just not the way life works. I used to kind of think it did, so that's why I laugh at that. Okay, right, if life's all about checking off boxes and saying I did all the things, then yeah, there's a point where all the boxes are checked and there's nothing left to do. That's not how it works when you're living in your experience and giving yourself permission to create a life you love. There's always more, and it's wonderful, especially when you're happy and healthy and anxiety-free. Okay, so pick that new number and then go through the process of, at this new number, I will think, I will feel, I will say and do, I will sense in my body, and I will know. What will you know when you're at this higher number, this improved experience? Really sink into it and give yourself permission to feel it, to know what it's going to be like, to give a very clear indication to your subconscious mind, this is where we're going. This is the direction I've set, right? And then the path will appear for you. Yeah, and that sounds kind of like a little airy-fairy, right? But it's things like I found out about energy work, like going to a network chiropractor, which really helped me to process a lot of the energy blocks that were stuck in my body. I didn't actually ever have to confront the issues necessarily that were the memories that were tied there. Sometimes I did, but other times it was enough to just get the energy flowing again and for things to kind of shift in my perception and for me to have a new experience, one where I felt more like aligned with me and less like confused and spinning and chaotic. Yeah, because that's what happens when we get outside of our own experience, when our own experience becomes scary or painful, and we're carrying a lot of emotions that are sad and we can't process them, or scary and we can't process them just because we don't know how yet. then we don't want to be in that experience, and we try to escape it by putting our focus somewhere else, right? And you can look at all the other videos about, abandonment, addiction, and all of the different things, abuse, all the things that are going on because we really having a hard time struggling to be inside our own experience. But right now, the exercise that you're doing, it's getting you back into your experience, and you're saying, okay, I'm here, I'm going to own this. Right? I'm actually going to decide when I'm at this. You may have heard a horse in the background. Clearly, I'm in the hay barn, and they're right outside the door wanting to help, but that would not go particularly well. So totally distracted there. Lost my train of thought. So it's just a matter of paying attention to the opportunities to process the stress that's in your body, right? So the laughter is the tool that you can use, but you've now put yourself in the driver's seat of saying, this is where I am in my experience. I've decided I'm not going to stay here. I'm actually going to go to this other better experience. And this is exactly what that experience is going to be like. And then you start asking yourself, because you're the one who has the answers to your healing, right? People can help us. I mean, my colleague and dear friend, Judy Forder, has been absolutely, critical to my own healing journey. And we're always asking one another, sharing like what's going on and asking, what are you getting on this? Like intuitively, what's your sense of this? Can you see my blind spots that I can't see? So that kind of process, sure, getting outside help is incredible. But also recognizing that at the end of the day, you're the one that decides what it's like for you. You need to be the authority of your own life, the author of your own experience, because you're the one who has the most at stake in it, right? And I really want you to have the opportunity to find out all of the brilliance inside of you so that you can fall in love with yourself. That's when life becomes wonderful. You fall in love with yourself not like, wow, look how great I am, so much better than everyone else. You fall in love with yourself like, wow, there's so much wonder inside of me, and I could explore this forever. And just enjoy the process and enjoy everybody else recognizing that they're doing this too. And they have the potential to do more of it. That's what this healing journey is all about. So tune in with Judy and I. We are doing Q&As every week. And just write your comments below, ask your questions, or just tune in live and watch it as we get really tangible with when I talk about the process of paying attention to your intuitive guidance or your inspiration. What does that actually mean for you in day-to-day living? And we'll be talking about that and supporting that journey. So for more information, go to masterfulyou.com. If you love this video, please like it. I don't think there's a love button yet, right? So if you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe. Let people know they don't need to stay stuck in anxiety. We don't need to escape it. We can look it straight in the face and we can laugh. And that will be enough to get us back into a state where we can make some changes, where we can choose our own experience. Thank you for being here today. I'm so impressed with your courage and your willingness to really look at yourself and give yourself an opportunity for a better experience. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being you.